Who's your friend there?
This is Katie,
Katie?
and she doesn't like being left out.
Yeah, I think that's the one in your Facebook page, right? You got the picture of in the dog
Yes,
in the,
she is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're ready, what I like to do is I had some after watching our first two videos and editing those. I had a couple follow-up questions I wanted to talk to you about, and then I thought we'll just kind of continue on with, we kind of started off with your first season there, and then we'll just kind of work our way, and continue the conversation. And then if there's anything that you want to bring up or interject, that's fine as well. So the first question I had for you, when we were talking and you were explaining to me about putting down the straw or the hay, you said that there was a new run that you guys just bulldozed, and I was curious what run that was that you were talking about.
It's the one that nobody seems to be able to remember the name of. But I kind of wonder whether or not it was orchard or something to do with an apple. So it's from watching the other videos, it would be the run that Murray refers to as being over top of where they used to dump stuff.
Right.
So it was the first run to the left of the T-bar, the main T-bar as you went up.
Okay. And where was this like excavating work that got done that you guys were on the run that you were
It
putting
was
hay?
all below where you would have walked across on the Bruce Trail.
Okay. Right in that section.
In that section down to where the bridge went underneath or the trail went under the bridge on
Yeah.
the T-bar.
And when you were there, like when you started, we may have touched on this already, but did you say that bridge was already installed when you showed up?
It was, yes.
Okay.
And I
Let's
don't
see.
I don't know how long before that it had been put in, but it was there when I started.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw one of the videos, but I'm assuming it was the same summer I was up there when I saw them installing the cable tow going up on the racing hill. But I remember Murray and his dad working on it. It was either they were building that bridge or they were doing some kind of work on it. But I know it was definitely in the summertime,
Mhm.
which was kind of interesting for me. But let's see here. The other question I had for you, going back to the snowmaking, somebody asked me a comment about extending the length of the season. Did it? I guess their question was, did it essentially just allow you to open earlier? But I'm assuming when spring rolled around, like you were mentioning earlier, what the utility costs and so forth, there was a time where you basically stopped the snowmaking.
Yeah, so for sure we use it to open earlier, and then when weather was good, we would make as much snow as we could put on the hill. So the season would have been extended because we had more base, but
Yeah,
we didn't make snow in order to be open another week or two. We wouldn't have done that. We would have suspended it by that point.
gotcha. And then the follow-on question they had was the cost. So this may have been something that you were involved in later in your career when you're more of the manager part, but do you have any ideas as far as the cost of snowmaking? Was it?
The cost of energy.
Yeah, I mean, so in other words, it enabled you to open the season a little bit earlier, and like you said, it enabled you when the conditions were right to make a deeper base. But at the end of the year, was it fairly expensive? Was it something that anybody looking at the numbers said this was worthwhile? It wasn't worthwhile back then, with the technology and the cost of energy and all that kind of stuff?
I know that I wouldn't have been involved in the cost of the energy other than just being aware that we we did it at certain times. Um, Labor wise was a consideration because we didn't have a lot of full time people working. So there was some consideration given as to whether or not you made snow through the end of February because you had to employ part-time people.
What was it hard for you
I can't remember what the cost would have been though.
Yeah.
I know, I know I don't think that we were getting paid an awful lot back then.
Yeah.
It's a number of years ago.
Was it hard for you to find labor? To
Actually, not that hard.
Okay.
There was a lot of people that were involved in either farming their own property or working for people through the summertime. So there was people available.
Okay. The other question was, you mentioned the bowl wheel unloading for what we're calling the third T-bar, the one that came over from Twin Horse. What can you explain that to me when you say bowl wheel unloading, what that means?
Well, you know what the bowl wheel is, right?
Yes.
It's the big return device that the cables and the bars go around.
Right.
And it had become common then for some chairlifts to be unloading right at the bowl wheel. But to anybody's knowledge, at that time, nobody had ever done it with a T-bar, but Lloyd thought that it would be possible, and we all sort of stood around, scratched our heads, and just it was a matter of designing the terrain correctly so that the skiers got ahead of the T-bars just before the return of the. So
Okay.
typically, like the main T-bar and the small one that was by the parking lot, you unloaded from the T-bar, let the bar go away from you, and it would continue another 30 feet, or at the top of the hill even it was further than that, because it went the bars went right over top of the trail. What's the long trail called again?
Caribou.
Caribou.
Was it the Caribou, the one that
Yeah,
basically
so
went off the back?
Yeah, you went off the back and around, and so they had the bowl wheel for that tow sitting like 100 feet away from where you unloaded. So on this third tow, you unloaded right at the bowl wheel.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, because in my mind, I'm thinking of those two previous lifts you just talked about, like the main lift line, you would get off and the bar would go another 20, 30, whatever feet around the bull wheel. Okay, so so did that work out all right?
It worked out all right. I've been there since, and I don't know what has happened with the terrain. I think it was altered some reason or another, because where the cement base is for what would have been that bowl wheel tower, it doesn't seem to have the slope that I remember, so that you could sort of scoot away from the tees. How they went around the corner, and you went straight out.
So what was there a advantage of?
Well, one of the advantages was that it fit that terrain much better, because we would have had to build up where the bull wheel was in order to unload at that same spot. Because if the bull wheel was 30 feet further down or further up the hill, I guess it would have gone down a hill, because it kind of ended on a bit of a ridge.
Right.
So we would have had to somehow or another build up the ground, and that would have been a lot more concrete poured, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Was that, so did you say, was that Lloyd's idea to try that?
It was certainly Lloyd's idea, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, as far as you know, was there another lift like that where you would unload at the bull wheel?
I've never seen another T-bar like that.
Oh.
And I don't know where that T-bar went when Lloyd sold it.
Right.
It could very well have been put in the same sort of design, because it worked sufficiently well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know how he came up with that idea.
Lots of chairlifts, especially the detachable chairlifts, where they go much slower
Mhm.
at the loading and unloading area.
Yeah.
Lots of those chairlifts are unloading at the bow wheel.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to pay attention to that. I never, when you said that, when I was reviewing the video and, the way that you said it, I really didn't know what you meant by that. I mean, I knew what the bull wheel was, but I didn't understand that concept. So that's interesting that he came up with that idea. And that was another question I was going to ask you. I remember you saying that Lloyd, when it came to that third T-bar, that he, we were talking about you disassembling it and then moving over and excavating and getting ready to put the lift up, that Lloyd selected where the lift towers were going to be. And the question I had for you, knowing, or in my mind, I'm thinking Lloyd knowing what you were doing in school, right? Was that something, do you remember, did he try to educate you or teach you at all on why he selected where the lift towers were going to be and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, he sat with me and said, "This is how far we're going to go and things like that." Yes, very much so.
Yeah. But as far as like I don't know if engineering is the right word, but it's like why he's selecting those particular positions. So if, in my mind, I'm thinking, was he kind of helping you? So down the road, if you had to do that, you would have kind of a base of knowledge from obviously doing it once before.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Oh,
It's really a matter of you want to continuously be going uphill as much as possible, right? You don't you don't want an area where it's really flat, and for sure you don't want an area where you start going downhill because you ride ahead of the toe. So you need to make the the towers can only be so far apart because the cable sags,
hmm.
and you want to select a place where you make sure that you can change the terrain if need be in between it so it's continuously uphill.
Yeah. Um, and that just made me think of another question. Did you feel like Lloyd was um, interested in young people like you that were, had I mean, I guess I could say an early passion. Obviously, you're going to school about it, trying to teach you what he knew all through the whole process.
Yeah, yes, I would say he was always interested in passing on whatever knowledge he could, for
Yeah,
sure.
well, that's great.
Very nice man.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Let's see here. What else do I got? Oh, another question when we were kind of finishing up our snowmaking discussion. When I was walking across the Bruce Trail, and a part of the trail that went across where Murray's Run was, so this would have been on the west side. If you're going down Murray's Run, the west is to the left. Is that correct?
Going down, yes.
Yeah. So on the left side of Murray's Run, so if you would have started at the very top of the hill, you went down that steep section, then it kind of leveled off a little bit and then went back downhill again. And that's kind of where the Bruce Trail goes. I don't know if you saw the video, but Murray, we found what looked like a ski runner from the toboggan tow that Murray thinks they use to haul snow. And that's when I noticed where it looked like there was a tower, like a concrete footing that maybe a telephone pole. I think actually a telephone pole was in it, and somebody came by and just cut the pole down. But you can see where like the concrete footer was wrapped around it. Did you?
Was it concrete or was it just that galvanized
Well, yeah, it was.
culvert?
I think it was galvanized, but for some reason I thought maybe they poured concrete into the galvanized pipe, or there was something there. But
I
my,
know we put a couple of places.
so you did
Uh,
have tower guns around there?
yeah, two
Okay.
two different spots on the west side of Murray's Run. We put those culverts in the ground, and we actually put old hydro poles or telephone poles up, and we mounted tower guns. I'm not sure if we had two or if we moved one around, but it was was another brainstorm of Lloyd's. The tower guns had the same head on them as what the three-wheeled guns did.
Hmm.
But they were mounted on about a 20-foot pole that would winch up and down. So we would use a winch to bring it up to its upright position. So as SMI sold the units, they had the same head as on the three wheels. And then they sold the arm, if you will, the 25-foot long, and they made everything in stainless steel. So that was a stainless steel arm. And then there was a big device that you clamped around your pole that had a crank and gear and gearing system in order to swing the whole arm and head from left to right. So the stainless steel pipe cost a certain amount of money. The big gearbox at the bottom cost a certain amount of money, and we wanted to mount more guns, so we bought the head only from SMI, and we not stainless steel. We just made just a standard steel pipe and painted it, and we put the winch on the poles as well. And that culvert, what we did was we dropped a big round rock down to the bottom of the culvert and put the used pole in it, and then just mounted that the pipe and the head directly on the pole, and we would turn the whole pole because it was sitting on this rock at the bottom. So we'd take a big either, I can't remember if we would use the arm itself sometimes, or we would take a logging device, a pivot PV pole, or some kind of a pole anyway. We would just turn the whole thing, and then if it didn't stay where it wanted, we just had a wooden wedge that we wedged in between the pole and the thing. So made something that was going to cost us $6,000 only cost us $2,000. So,
That's pretty cool. Who came up with that idea?
probably brainstorming. Lloyd would have been involved in it because he was the salesperson for SMI. So
Yeah.
he I guess made it possible to buy the heads all by themselves.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool being able to sit there and work your way through a problem like that, especially when it comes to the cost. Like, hey, we could do this and
Yeah.
basically get the same thing accomplished, and like you're saying, save money.
And I believe the one that was the one lower down the hill, I think we were able to use it for making some snow on Murray's Run, but also the Wildcat.
Okay, so if I kept going down Murray's Run, that potentially second pole would have been on the west side as well, going down Murray's Run.
Yeah,
Would have been down as far as like where the deck is, or where do you
it
think?
would have been across the run from the deck.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that Murray's Run and the Wildcat got very close to each other there. If you were on the farthest left of Murray's Run, you could, I think, actually ski up a little hill and go down the bottom part of the Wildcat. And that's where that was until the third toe was put in, and then you couldn't cross it onto the Wildcat because it divided the two of them.
Okay, that was going to be my question, and so that makes sense then. So that was before the lift was put in, and then obviously after the lift. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's fascinating. I didn't when I saw that, and for some reason, I think when I asked Murray, he did not recall. So that might have been after his time. But I do have